Hello everyone and welcome to my review of Honda's 2021 Rebel 1100. Previously we could only get this cruiser motorcycle in the 300 or 500 engine variants, but for 2021 Honda went all out by adding their new 1084 parallel twin from the latest iteration of the Africa Twin into their cruiser. So even though we might be looking at what many would define as a metric cruiser, we have a lot more grunt, a lot more soul in terms of exhaust and power that would make something like Honda's Rebel 1100 a lot more comparable to the American cruiser offerings. So 1084cc making 100 horsepower and 76 pound-feet of torque, and when we get onto the road you'll note that if you've already seen my Africa Twin video, you'll be able to tell just how much different of an exhaust note there is on this Rebel as opposed to the Africa Twin. As you can see, we have a totally different exhaust mapping and very different muffler configuration. Now for this motorcycle, it does have the $1,000 DCT added onto it. A 6-speed manual is standard, and I've spoken at length about how brilliant I think this transmission is in my Africa Twin Adventure Sports video, so please go there to have a look if you want to hear more of my thoughts on that specific element of this motorcycle and the Africa Twin. But one thing I'll note before we get onto the road is that even though you have the same cluster up here on your right hand side of the handlebar, there is no sport transmission mode. You do have the 4 different riding modes of Sport, Standard, Rain, and the user configurable mode, but there is currently no way to change around the transmission's ferocity here on a button independent of the rest of the riding modes. So let's get on the road and I'll share with you what I think of Honda's Rebel 1100. Okay, so let's get the GoPro at the right angle. Hope that's good enough. Start up this bad boy. So, as I already mentioned, there is a significantly different sound in this Rebel 1100 than what there is in the Africa Twin. The engine itself, a 270-degree cross-plane crank parallel twin, to me is a bit more of a utilitarian thing. So many people want Harley-Davidson's Indian motorcycles in this class of cruiser because the V-twin is just so charming and so characterful, but with this there is a really nice noise to this engine, and when you get to rev it out on the road it is truly rewarding. There is a big advantage with parallel twins, and that's that there is significantly less heat spill on your legs, so on a hot day that might be a deciding factor for you if you're looking in this cruiser space. So let's hit the D button. Simple twist of the throttle, and away we go. So much like the Africa Twin, the DCT adds another $1,000 to the price of this motorcycle and another 22 pounds, which of course you really won't notice out on the road. The most notable things for me being on this Rebel 1100 is that even though we've upsized the engine and the weight, I don't really feel like the motorcycle itself has been upsized that much compared to the 500. And for me, I'm 6'4", I have a pant leg size of typically 38, and I just don't fit well into the tank of this motorcycle. It isn't uncomfortable because of course I can spread my legs out quite far. The pegs are far outside of the engine casing, so there's a lot of space by my feet and by my knees. Of course I can really stretch out, but if I want to get tight along to the tank, it's a little bit restrictive on this 1100. My favorite part about riding this Honda Rebel is that it really does have sort of a power cruiser vibe. We've got these beefy Dunlop tires where as I go side to side it does feel very light, very manageable, and the wet weight of this motorcycle is 514 pounds, and that's with the DCT option box ticked. So as I gently roll side to side, I really feel like this Rebel 1100 has a lot more control behind the handlebars, but I think that also leads to this being quite an inoffensive motorcycle, and how many people in this space are looking for a product that doesn't shout about itself that much. I think that's one of the main elements of purchasing a cruiser motorcycle, really. Alright, so we've got an open stretch of road coming up here. I'll turn around just so we can have it all to ourselves, but I'm going to go into the manual shifting mode and the sports setting, and downshift a little bit, and just like on the Africa Twin, it calmly slurs into the next gear, up or down. Feels great, but here we go, let's rev it out. Missed that first upshift there, but it definitely wasn't punishing. And pulling hard on the brake levers. We've got Nissan calipers, single piston on the rear, dual piston up front. I was surprised to see that the 1100 only has one disc on the front wheel, but honestly the stopping power is good enough just on the front. So the essential thoughts with this product is that from behind the handlebars, I'm surprised that more of it wasn't upsized, and certainly not as well fitted to it as I might have hoped. But the dual clutch transmission, as brilliant as it's ever been. I love the digital readout with all of your information clearly pointed out. So there we have it. Those are my quick thoughts on the Rebel 1100. What do you think of this motorcycle? Is it good enough or different enough to the American cruiser style of motorcycle that you would consider owning it? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you on the channel again soon.